Welcome to the Push Ball Black Show. I'm your host Christian, and this is the Bearscast for Week 11. Bears lose a crazy one to Minnesota, 30-27. I'm gonna be honest. I did not think this game was gonna go the way it went. I thought the Bears were going to be competitive, but not that competitive. I don't know how to take this one because I honestly didn't think Sam Darnold was that good until he got to Minnesota. I didn't think he was that good of a prospect coming out of USC. He was inconsistent in college. I didn't see the hype when he got out of college, and for the majority of his career, he was not in systems and on teams where he was until he got to San Francisco and until he got to Minnesota. He's been inconsistent, if not outright bad, for years. And this season in Minnesota, he has had a renaissance career year, and they have been in an already competitive NFC North. They in Detroit have been mollywhopping people. So I figured like the Bears would be competitive, but I didn't think it would be this close. And the Bears did some inroads. This is not really because I know what the talk is gonna be. Like I'm not a professional journalist or anything. I'm just a fan with an old iPhone and a passion for the Bears, and I just like making content. So, like, the people that do this for a living, they're gonna find a way to blame Matt Eberflus on this because they don't like him. And there are some issues with this team as far as penalties and as far as clock management that I don't like about Matt Eberflus. But I feel like as a coach, and I feel like as a situation, just like Justin Fields, Matt Eberflus got the raw end of the deal when it came to this, because he was asked to basically take a team, new GM, like you basically have a quarterback that they don't know what they're going to do in Justin Fields. They got a team basically like baseball style. They trade all their good players, and then they basically tear this team down to the studs. And 2 years ago with Justin Fields, it was like he was basically asked to coach a team with Justin Fields and a bunch of practice squad players. Last year, you had an offense coordinator that didn't know what he was doing and was over above his skis. I honestly think this year Shane Waldron lied to get the job, because I don't know what the hell he's been doing. He was doing with the Bears as far as calling an offense, because the last two games under Thomas Brown have been refreshing. So this is not going to be a Matt Eberflus like deal. I like Matt Eberflus. I like the fact that this defense has been competitive and they have kept the Bears in games. My gripe has always been the offense. When Matt Nagy was the offense coordinator and head coach, he didn't know what he was doing. And Luke Getsy under the Matt Eberflus era didn't know what he was doing. Shane Waldron didn't know what he was doing. I didn't record a lot of this stuff when it was the Justin Fields era. I couldn't. So it would have been a lot of ranting and raving during his era, because you had bad offense coordinators and bad coaches. So I say that to say the one thing I will say about Matt Eberflus, the two things and I said them earlier, is clock management and penalties. I'm looking at the penalties. Vikings have 5 penalties for 45 yards. The Bears had 7 penalties, 80 yards. The issue with the penalties, though, with the Bears, they come at the most inopportune times, including in this game, pass interference. Like when you had them, when the defense is humming and the defense got you basically 3 and out and a punt, pass interference. Like they're off the field. They're off the field and pass interference. There was a late hit out of bounds too, where it was like he's already out of bounds. What are you doing? That's another penalty where it's like just undisciplined play. One of the things that I was noticing during the game, and it ended up causing them like a delay of game that they were able to rebound from. For whatever reason, the plays weren't going into the Bears like to Caleb until the very last second of the play clock, and I was almost thinking that I'm seeing him clap his hand to get the ball right when it's about to hit the 0, or if it didn't hit 0. So that was something that I was seeing. I don't understand why they went for 2 early in the game and they didn't end up getting it. I didn't understand that. The special teams was another day, another game. A blocked field goal happened. I don't know what's up with that. Again, didn't end up biting them because they ended up forced it in overtime. The muff punt was a big deal because that was another situation where you had the Vikings, you were gonna get possession, and then you called poison, which is to get away, and then you forgot the returner forgot to get away from the ball, and it went between his legs and it hit his leg, and the Vikings were able to get a hold of it and score. Just those things, I'm watching that, I'm sitting here like I wonder how the game would be if they were able to kick the field goal and they were able to have that possession, because I honestly thought Caleb was going to have one of his worst games ever, and he ended up not having a bad game at all. I thought Brian Flores was going to blitz him like crazy, and to the Bears' credit, the offensive line picked up a lot of the blitzes, and he had time to run the offense effectively. I don't like the fact that he threw for 47. He had 47 attempts. I don't like that. He had 32 of 47, 340 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Sacked 3 times, rating of 103. DJ Moore, they had a pass to him. They had him throw a pass and didn't really go anywhere. They didn't have a lot of design runs for Caleb. It was 6 carries, 33 yards. It was more scrambles and let's see if we can get some positive yards or first down. DJ Moore had a good game again. 7 receptions, 106 yards. Keenan Allen, 9 receptions, 86 yards. I think it was noted in 1 touchdown for DJ Moore and Keenan Allen each, respectively. And Cole Kmet, 7 receptions, 64 yards. Roman Dunse, 5 receptions, 39 yards. DeAndre Swift, 3 receptions, 10 yards. And Roshan Johnson, 1 reception, 10 yards. So they didn't do – receiving was good. Rushing was okay. I think they could have ran a little bit more. Caleb Williams, 6 carries, 33 yards, as mentioned earlier. DeAndre Swift, 13 carries, 30 yards. DJ Moore, 1 carry, 13 yards. Roschon Johnson, 2 carries, 2 yards, and a touchdown. This was basically Minnesota had a lot of time. And even on the last drive to get them in the field goal position to kick the field goal, I was saying the whole game, they have way too much time for Sam Darnold to run that offense. Like, if the Bears get a pass rush, the defense is going to be. They're already a playoff defense now. There were so many games when I started back doing this. There were so many games where I was like, that's a winnable game. That's a winnable game. That's a winnable game. And the Bears could easily be 7-4 instead of 4-7. So now they're five. They've lost 5 games in a row. I think they're going to end up being in Detroit. I'm not sure, but I think the next game is in Detroit. I said last week that once the Bears season is over, Detroit is going to be my adoptive team because they're 9-1 and it's not even fair. So I don't think the Bears will win that game either. But you never know because I didn't think they were going to win this game, and both defenses are really good. So they might be more competitive than I thought. I don't know. Goff is another one where I'm not going to say he was bad. I'm going to say he was in a situation with the Rams where he didn't really have a good start, and then McVay comes, and McVay got him in a better situation, but they led him to a Super Bowl, but he couldn't win with him, which I don't necessarily agree with. I feel like McVay was impatient, and he had an idea in his head of how his offense is supposed to run, and he thought like Matthew Stafford could do it, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. So yeah, that worked out. But after that, they haven't really been consistent. I bring up the McVay situation to say that Goff is in Detroit now. Jared Goff is in Detroit now. And now it's like after a couple of, I think it was a season of him trying to figuring it out. Now it's like you get Dan Campbell and you get a good offense coordinator and that believes in Jared Goff. And he should be in MVP discussions. Like Detroit's the best team in the NFC. It's not even a discussion. It's not. It's them. I'd be very interested to see what happens once the playoffs hit, and if they make the Super Bowl, and if it's them in Kansas City. I want to see that. But yeah, not gonna belabor this. I was glad that they got the onside kick and they were able to force the game in the OT, because that's coaching. Like going back to what I was saying earlier about Eberflus, that's coaching, because you could have easily just not figured it out in the fourth quarter and just kind of laid down and rest and kind of chilled everybody for the next game, because they played Thursday on Thanksgiving, and they didn't. They continued to play. They scored 17 points in the fourth quarter, whereas Minnesota only scored 3, and they made it competitive. And I don't know if they should have won this game, but there were some issues that I'm wondering if things happened differently, wondering how this game would have been. So see y'all Thursday. And so this is how Thursday is gonna go. Because it's Thanksgiving, I'm probably not gonna be able to record right away because I'll be watching the game with family. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to, because where I'm going to be eating, they start their Thanksgiving really early. So I don't know if I'll be able to watch the game here or watch the game there. If I'm able to watch the whole game here, I might be able to record, but I'm not banking on it. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to have my Thanksgiving, and then when I get home, watch the game while I'm eating, uh, take mental notes when I can, and probably watch the game again just to kind of see, just to kind of re-watch and see stuff, and then do the pod either Thanksgiving evening or Friday morning, and then post it Friday morning. But yeah, this was a crazy game. This was fun. I watched it in a bar. There were a bunch of kids around in the bar because it's daytime and there's no like reason to have an age limit when it's 11 o'clock in the morning, and there's a park next to the bar, so a lot of people was out there. Like, there's a park and there's a field and stuff, so they don't really make a deal about it until after like 9 or something, where you check IDs and whatnot. So there's a bunch of kids running around. I think the Kansas City the Kansas City game was playing. The Cowboys game was playing. That had precedent over everything when it came to the sound. So I'm listening to the radio call and watching the game on the TV, and I'm listening to the radio call on NFL Plus. And like I had one Bears fan in there with his Caleb jersey, and he's like 9 or 10. So as soon as I rolled in there, it was like he gave me dap and stuff, and I'm watching the game. He's kind of watching the game with me, and then it got to the point where, like, when that fourth quarter hit, and the Bears were just like going nuts, and onside kick and scoring, and Caleb was doing crazy stuff. Like, the kids got into it, and the kids got into the fact that Carolina was keeping up with Kansas City, and they might have won that game if Kansas City missed the kick. And it was hilarious that, like, Kansas City was lining up for the field goal, and the kids was chanting missed the kick," and then when they made the kick, it was a Kansas City fan runs up to all the kids and like rubs their heads and like gives fake high fives and stuff because they won the game. So when the Bears got into overtime, like when the Bears they scored that 17 points and they got it into overtime, the bar was nuts. And then the Cowboys game, that game was crazy. I was kind of catching glimpses of that. And when that game finally ended, the bar erupted because, of course, I'm in Dallas. But yeah, the whole experience was kind of nuts. So, but anyway, I will holler at y'all Thursday or Friday morning. Push Wild Blackout.